Good evening and welcome to the March 26, 2026 meeting of the Indian River County Planning and Zoning Commission. I'll call this meeting to order and we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Are there any additions or deletions to tonight's agenda? Nope. I see no. Our first order of business is the approval of the minutes for the March 12th, 2026 meeting.
So move.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? March 12th meeting minutes are approved. Tonight, we have one agenda item. It is a public hearing, and it is a Vero Classical School request for a special exemption use and site plan approval for a K through 12 private school. TLC VBCS LLC is the owner and applicant. Mills Short and Associates LLC is the agent. The zoning is A1 agricultural district up to 1 unit per 5 acres. Land use designation is AG1 agricultural 1 up to 1 unit per 5 acres. Are there any declarations of ex parte communication, and can everyone evaluate this item with an open mind?
Yes.
And I will.
Yep, okay. Good enough. We will swear in all people who would like to speak on this. Please stand and get sworn in.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Staff presentation.
All right, good evening, Chair, members of the board. Before you today is the Vero Classical K through 12 School Special Exception Use in Phase 1 Major Site Plan. The property is located west of 58th Avenue, north of 13th Street Southwest, and south of Oslo Road or 9th Street Southwest. On screen is an aerial of the site, just kind of depicting what the overall school site is going to look like with existing conditions. As you can see, the majority of the property is clear with partial vegetation towards the western edge of the property. This special exception is for a 3-phased project. So everything that you see not colored in white is phase 1 of the project. Phase 2 is everything in blue, and phase 3 is everything in red. So for the majority of phase 1, this is going to be the ancillary gym, along with some of the admin, school, and library uses on the property. Phase 2 is going to be some more school buildings, some ball fields, and some tennis courts. And then finally, phase 3 is going to be the rest of the parking for the project, and then hopefully a football stadium and track field. And then there's also some other buildings as well. So phase 1 site plan is subject to your approval tonight, pending the decision by the BCC. So again, phase 1 site plan is going to be the majority of the parking for the property, the ancillary gym, the library, the classrooms, and admin space. And then there's also going to be a multi-purpose practice field. All of the stormwater ponds are going to be incorporated in phase 1. All of the landscape buffers are going to be incorporated in phase 1, and then also a playground area as well. So we're going to get into the traffic. So this is going to be a complete build out of 58th Avenue Southwest from Oslo Road all the way down to 13th Street Southwest. There is going to be a build out of 13th Street Southwest from 58th Avenue Southwest, approximately 170 feet west of the project's driveway. There's going to be turn lane improvements that are going to be incorporated along both roads, and then also 58th Avenue Southwest and 13th Street Southwest intersection improvements are also included in this as well. As noted, the 2 stormwater ponds in blue are going to be constructed with phase 1 of the project. And then finally, as part of the special exception use, the project is required to have a 20-foot continuous type C landscape buffer around the whole entire perimeter of the property. The applicant will be providing that. For improvements and other conditions, just want to note that educational centers in the A1 zoning district must adhere to specific land use criteria in section 971.144 of the county's land development regulations. The proposed plans comply with all 7 of those criteria. They are listed in detail in the staff report and also explained in detail in the staff report. These criteria generally revolve around site selection, increased building setback, landscape buffers, and adequate parking. I also want to take special note that staff was required to publish a legal advertisement in the newspaper, send out a notice by mail to all property owners within 300 feet of the project site, and we were required to post a sign to the property as well. So just to kind of go over the roadway improvements in a little bit more detail. So they're going to be required to construct 58th Avenue Southwest to include paving and striping from the current pavement terminus to 13th Street Southwest. They're going to be required to construct a southbound right turn lane on 58th Avenue Southwest at 13th Street Southwest. Construct 13th Street Southwest to include paving and striping from 58th Avenue Southwest to approximately 170 feet west of the project's 13th Street Southwest driveway connection. And finally, construct a westbound right turn lane at the project's 13th Street Southwest driveway connection. Also noted, a 20-foot wide type C landscape buffer is required to be installed around the entire perimeter of the property, as I explained, pursuant to section 971.1446 of the county's land development regulations. They will also be required to dedicate 30 feet of right-of-way for 13th Street Southwest, and they're also required to do internal and external sidewalks on both 58th Avenue Southwest and 13th Street Southwest. Staff recommends that the PZC recommend that the BCC grant special exception use approval and that the PZC grant Phase 1 site plan approval, subject to the BCC approval of the special exception use for the Vero Classical School with the conditions listed in the staff report. These conditions generally relate to dedication of the 30 feet of right-of-way for 13th Street Southwest, approval of all final landscaping, site lighting, and tree protection and mitigation improvements, construction of all required off-site roadway and traffic improvements, construction of all other applicable improvements noted on the site plan, and special note that the maximum student enrollment shall not exceed 1,194 students without additional county approval. Thank you.
Thank you. Staff questions, am I right? Any staff questions or any commissioner questions? Go ahead.
My question really is multiple. Number one, I came in tonight thinking we were only talking about the zoning because it was special exception. But I see in your presentation, you talked about schools with A1 zoning. Why, number one, why is there a special exception? You know, as far as this is concerned, you did address, I had some concerns about the dirt roads. You addressed that, but why is this a special exception? It looks like we're not just approving zoning, but yet Phase 1.
Mr. Chair, if I could take a stab at that. For the record, Ryan Sweeney, Assistant Planning Development Services Director. Calvin, so the zoning is already A1. The property is zoned A1. Schools or educational facilities are allowed as a special exception use within the A1 zoning district. There's a handful, probably more than a handful of different uses that can be approved via the special exception process within A1 zoning. That's the use. So the use would cover the entire 3 phases up to 1,194 students.
Yes.
And then in addition to, tonight, they're also requesting concurrently site plan approval for Phase 1, which is breakdown on students. I believe it is 330 students. So you have, the use approval has to be recommended by you all and ultimately approved by the board in order for Phase 1 site plan approval to be blessed or allowed, if you will. But rather than go through that process and then come back with the Phase 1 site plan, we're doing it concurrently.
I understand. Thank you.
You good, Calvin?
Yes, sir.
Yep. Anyone else on the right?
Not at this time.
Okay, any questions on the left?
I've got one. Brandon, and correct me if I'm wrong, the South County Initiative has 13th Street Southwest on the other side, I think of 43rd, to put a bridge there if there's any development to take place, correct?
Yes.
Yes, I know the answer, yes. Uh, My next question, and I happened to read it in the paper this morning too, and Larry Reisman wrote it, so I don't believe a lot of that. It's, there's gonna be a lot of development out in this area. And I'm just putting my 2 cents in tonight that I hope we don't allow developments to be enclosed and private, because if you're gonna have something like this, we should be able to get to it no matter where you are out there.
Right.
Okay, that's all I have.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as all these projects come online, we take a look at the traffic study and determine what roadway improvements need to be made.
And I think it's already beginning to erode away from the South County Initiative of some of the developments that have been approved out there.
Yeah, if you're talking about some of the PD projects going to conventional.
Correct.
yeah, there have been some projects that decided they wanted to go conventional, but for this specific project, in their traffic study, they were gonna be required to do some improvements that would have been on the hook for the Emerson Oaks project. However, since the Emerson Oaks project
Right.
is in full development, those requirements are actually being done, so the school's not on the hook for those.
Okay.
If
And
I-
go ahead,
just
Ryan.
could also, 13th Street Southwest is currently paved from between 43rd and 58th.
Yep.
So
Correct.
that's already an existing full.
So they're just going to be extending that pavement
Correct.
westward?
Yeah.
Correct, but one key thing to note, the segment from 13th Street Southwest of 58th Avenue back to the intersection is not paved. And by paving that segment, it is going to allow a lot of those subdivisions to go west to go north, as opposed to trying to make that left out onto 43rd. So it could actually alleviate some of that area.
And those traffic studies showed that that was appropriate and good and work?
Correct.
Yes.
Will the road improvements be done before beginning the project?
They'll be done with phase one, so they would be done prior to CO of the first phase.
Any other questions on the left?
Dr. Day,
Yes.
I do have one. I'm not a commissioner, don't have a vote, but I do represent the school board. So, the question I have for you is about sidewalks.
Okay.
So where are the sidewalks on this plan?
The entire frontage of 58th Avenue and 13th Street Southwest.
Okay, and those will be built when?
With
the-
phase one.
Okay, thank you.
So far?
Okay, this-
Mr. Chair, the applicant does have a presentation, and then they're also available to answer any technical questions. Also, as you might have guessed, there's some folks here with the school, so they can answer any sort of operational enrollment questions like that.
okay, so we do the applicant presentation
Correct.
before we open
And
the
then we'll
public
open the
hearing?
public hearing. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yep.
I do have one question before he starts. The retention pond, is that gonna be a dry retention pond?
Wet.
Wet? How deep?
Well, I'll defer to the
Okay.
EOR when we get there.
We went there last month.
Good thing I'm back, huh?
Thanks, Brandon. Evening, Chairman. My name is Dan Sorrow with Mills Short and Associates. I just want to thank staff for their presentation. This meeting has been a long time coming, so we're thankful to be here tonight. I'm going to make one presentation for both the special exception use and the site plan. So both of those agenda items are here before you. I'm thankful and pleased to be part of such a wonderful team, local team made up of local professionals. Most of our team is available in the audience, as well as the school operator, should you have any questions after the presentation. The mission and vision of Vero Classical School. The mission is to provide an exceptional Christ-centered education in the classical tradition that cultivates wonder, wisdom, and worship through the pursuit of truth, goodness, and beauty. The vision is to see students experience the joy of learning and the grace of Jesus Christ and be equipped to live thoughtfully, humbly, purposefully in service of God and man. And, you know, this project, should it move forward tonight, will finally give Vero Classical a place to call home. They're currently leasing space in the city at Tabernacle, and after finding this property, it'll be a sort of autonomy that they can have and be able to move forward here in Indian River County. Most of you are familiar with where the project site is located. It's really on the South County, just south of Oslo Road, about halfway between US 1 and I-95. You can see that there is a lot of development happening just to the east of this site, with current residential communities just bordering our site. A little bit closer view of the project site. It is south of Oslo, just off 58th Avenue and 13th Street. The site's approximately 53 acres large. And you know, this site, it was old citrus groves. So a lot of the sites in Indian River County are like that. So there's not any wetlands, not any quality upland habitat communities. Most of it right now is exotics, Brazilian peppers, and things that we're going to clean out as part of our development program. The school at full build-out is just under 1,200 students. We've got those broken up into 3 different classifications: the elementary school, the middle school, and the high school, all respectively shown on the screen. It is kindergarten through 12. Some of the facilities that you see on the campus, it's very well-rounded with classrooms, admin offices, libraries, parking, stormwater treatment areas, plazas, courtyards, playgrounds, and reflection pools and gardens. This site plan aerial shows the current spatial components of the plans that we've worked so diligently with staff to bring to this evening, and it shows how the site has been designed. You know, one of the things that you'll see is that most of the building footprint is consolidated. It's kind of in the middle of the 53 acres. We've done that intentionally so as to provide great separation and great buffering to our neighbors and our community. And, you know, I have small kids, so one of the things that you often think about is the car line and how people are going to get to drop the kids off and how they're going to get to their classrooms. And we've done this strategically so that 58th Avenue is a bus drop-off and teacher parking lot. So those folks are isolated from the parent car line drop-off and the student parking drop-off. So those would locate and use the access shown on the bottom of the screen off 13th Street. So having this separation helps the car lines flow well, helps the traffic flow well, and helps decentralize a lot of that. And I think the school operator will also come up at the end and talk a little bit about arrival times and drop-off, but having staggered approaches also helps for things to flow a little bit more smoothly. This is a 3D version of the site plan that we just looked at, showing in a little bit more of a 3D version, but it does show how the buildings in the campus are consolidated to the middle of the site, and it does have the retention ponds on the periphery. You can see that with our Type C buffer that is being planted fully, the whole thing, the whole 53 acres is going to have the Type C buffer before we can get our first CO. So that's a substantial investment that the school is making, as well as having all the off-site roadway improvements completed before we can get the CO, the sidewalks along 53rd or 58th and 13th Street. So with this phase 1 plan, there is a lot of elements and infrastructure going in that go well beyond the phase 1 improvements. So I think that's something that we just wanted to point out. The architectural rendering, the next couple slides show some pictures of the buildings and the campus. The main administration, the library classroom, what you pull up and see is just under 19,000 square feet. It is 2-story. And you know, this architecture can best be defined as classical. It's timeless. It's very, very formal, very, very well done. Here's another view of that main administration building with the reflective pool. You know, water is an activity generator. It's something nice to see when you're dropping kids off or coming to the school for an event at night. It's a welcoming type curb appeal feature, and we're happy to have it, and you know, front and center as one of the main parts of the welcoming campus. This is the rear of that same building. Some of the outdoor play spaces are hidden by the architecture and the structure, such as the children's play area and outdoor gardens. The interior of the building has detailed finishes with some of the ornate crown molding and decorative features. Very well done and very, very classy. Here's another example of the indoor foyer as you work and walk further in through the building. The gymnasium these days have multiple purposes. You can have dances in them, you can have indoor celebrations, as well as pep rallies and those sorts of things. You've got the retractable basketball hoops that allow for a little bit larger and open play area with the seats that retract as well. So very dual purposing and functioning for an indoor gymnasium space. And then lastly, we've got the library and the reading and the studying room. These are all warm materials. It's a very cohesive learning environment, very inviting for study and reflection and reading as well. In closing, you will find that in your staff report on page 4, 5, and 6, that staff made the determination that we meet every single one of the criteria for the special exception use. And our request is that you send this to the BCC with a recommendation of approval for both the special exception and the Site 1, or the Phase 1 site plan. And last but not least, Commissioner Day, Chairman Day, I'd like to request your permission to have Mr. Kelly come to the podium and give a little bit more detail and explanation about the school and why tonight is so important for them.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us here. This has been a long time coming. And can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I just need you to identify yourself,
Identify
please.
myself? Okay. I am Mr. Michael Kelly, and I'm standing along my wife. Go ahead.
I'm Jameson Kelly.
Yeah, independent woman right there. And we're the co-founders, so this has been a dream of ours for really 15 years in the making. And when my wife worked at a first-year classical Christian school in Illinois, and where basically she was ruined for the ordinary and just was exposed in just the first year what these third grade students were capable of. And she said, I just can't imagine any other education for our kids. If God chooses to bless us with kids, this is the way we would love to instruct them. As she was seeing kids in third grade memorize things. First grade. They were even younger than I thought. But just how much they were capable of. And I love the idea of classical education amplifying the gifts that God has given them. And that's the mindset in which we approach every day, is say, how are all these kids uniquely and beautifully and wonderfully made, and how can we amplify the unique gifts that God has blessed them with, and how can we pull that out of them, rather than say, hey, this is the test, but say, what is unique about you, Luke? What is unique about you, Cody? And say, let's bring the best out of you, right? Like, we're not all trying to be doctors, but let's go be the best electrician that God has. Let's go be the best lawyer, the best teacher. And so whatever that is, identify those strengths and pour into the strengths of those kids. And so that's the heart behind what we're doing. We're really the only classical Christian school that's a full-time school within probably an hour-and-a-half drive. There are some homeschooling options locally that are happening at a really great level, but this is the first thing that has really said, hey, we want this to be a full-time option. Parents have jobs, and so we have these kids full day, 5 days a week, 8 to 3, and started our first basketball program and football programs that a lot of these kids are on. And so it's been fun to see that the athletic program begin too. We love the way that sports can not only shape character, but can reveal it, and it gives us a chance to talk about those things. So not only do we have a GPA, but we have a CPA, we have a character point average, which allows our teachers and parents to speak into, hey, you may be a really great kid and a really great student, you have all A's, but guess what? You were super prideful and you were super arrogant, and let's look into those things.
Sorry, we don't say it to them.
Yeah, I don't say those things. Yeah. Really, I'm speaking about myself. I'm sorry. But it's just nice to have these other touch points with parents to say, hey, it's not just about the grades, but we care about your soul as well. And so a lot of the classical literature will talk about shaping hearts and minds, and that's a book that we give to our parents that they all read, and just we care about the cultivation, the nurturing of the soul as well as the mind. So that is a really brief history behind our mission. There's been an awesome response, and thank you, parents and friends, for being here today. But we see the reason we did not plan to grow this fast. We thought, we were advised when we looked at other schools, they said, if you can get to 100 kids within year 5, you are crushing it. You're a top 10% if you get at 100 kids by year 5. And so we have 114 in year 3, and we'll be at 140 by year 4. And so this project sped up faster than we anticipated. We're thankful for all the folks in this room behind us that have supported it in this But when you look at the demand, and Mr. Simpson, our head of school back there, will tell you, it's well over 220 expressions of interest. And so those don't always lead to applications because an application comes with a $75 fee, and the parents aren't saying, hey, I'm going to pay $75 when they know there's no space, right? And so our biggest challenge right now is to have the space to be able to host the huge need and huge demand for this, I guess, unique kind of education. We're not trying to supplant anything else. We're not trying to replace anything else that's happening. We love that we are, this is not competition. We're a classical Christian school, and it's really the only full one in town, which gives parents options in this day and age, which I think is just a great, healthy thing for everyone here. So, oh yeah, and that's it for me. I'm getting kicked out. Here's my wife.
I just want to briefly add, I don't know if I introduced myself again. I'm Jameson Kelly again. I just wanted to point out that while classical Christian education is kind of sweeping the nation of late, it's actually well over 2,000 years old and how education used to take place and has been proven over a long period of time to be very successful and time-tested. So we're just bringing an opportunity for that time-tested education to be available in the Indian River County area. And it has been very interesting to see the response and the desire that the parents have for that type of education. And just to add what Michael said in our mission and vision statement, it talks about the joy of learning and the grace of Jesus, and those two things are on par for us. We want excellence in education, but we also care deeply about the formation of their virtues and the habits of their heart. And so if you were to come on campus, you would see joyful teachers who love Jesus, who are worthy of emulation of the children. They love what they're doing. They love learning. They love kids. And the kids are excited to come to school. And that's what we want, lifelong learners that are going to go graduate from our school and become useful, helpful citizens that serve the Lord and serve their neighbors. And so that's the ultimate goal. It's what we wanted for our boys. We have 3 boys at the school. And now, God, I guess, wanted it available to more than just our 3 boys. And that's where Bureau Classical School was born from. So I just wanted to point out that it's not a new fad or a new phase. It's time-tested. And I'm really excited to see what that first graduating class looks like when they walk across the stage, which we have one, the oldest, and then we'll have one also who is our first kindergarten class. So it's going to be really cool to watch that as well. And thank you for all your time and consideration.
I've got one question for y'all, Lee. About 3 or 4 pages back, we had some state championships. Y'all already.
Oh,
I like that.
Wishful thinking.
I like that.
one can dream.
Yeah.
Dr. Day, I have a question. I have a question if I can, please. Always, I know that traffic is a concern. So one of my questions is, are most of your families multiple students within this?
Of our 114 kids, it's from 73 families.
From 73, okay, so that's a pretty large percentage of siblings that are going as well. So in my opinion, and I'll have to ask the engineer, was that taken into consideration in your traffic studies, or is that not taken into the traffic study as far as, that producing and backing and delivery? Because it seems to me that has a huge effect on how much traffic would be generated.
Yeah, good evening. Sean McKenzie with McKenzie Engineering and Planning, here representing the applicant. And I would say that is somewhat taken into account for in our traffic studies, because what we do is we use a national average of a K through 12 type facility. So we think that is representative of a typical facility where you'd have multiple students from one family attending the same school.
Okay, so that's been taken into all your calculations and things already? Good.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, and it looks like your parent drop-off, which I would imagine is probably a majority of your students' way of getting to school, is that correct? 100%. And it sounds like you're pulling that off of 13th in order to have enough, so that there's no stacking out onto 58th in those turn lanes, is that correct?
Correct, yes.
Yeah, because that would be a concern, I think, of the public, that's not going to stack and cause issues there on 58th. Is that correct?
That is correct, yeah. That's been studied for all 3 phases of the school to make sure there's adequate capacity in every phase of the school to keep all those parents on site.
Thank you, that helps a lot. Thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead. Sure.
Hi, Scott Simpson, head of school. This is my 25th year in education, 17 in Indian River County schools. One of the primary jobs of the principal or head of school is parent pickup. In fact, one of the piece of advice I always give to new principals is make sure you do a good job with parent pickup and drop off, because that's 95% of what parents see, because on a daily basis, they're not walking to school, but they are driving onto the campus. And so, I mean, our current pickup, today, we were done within 8 minutes, because that's about at 3:09 is when I called, all remaining students to the front. And so at my previous two schools, Osceola Magnet and Treasure Coast Elementary, I greatly changed our traffic so that no cars were on the roads, because that is a very frustrating thing to neighbors. So our current design allows for cars to not only come in, it goes all the way around the parking lot to the parent pickup area. Additionally, there's plans similar to what's happening at Storm Grove right now, where the parent pickup lot loop is made, where you can put just through some simple cones where cars will pull in. They can do kind of an S through the parking lot all the way through. My goal is to have all cars not even on 13th Avenue, even though we have the large turn lanes from 13th Street, as well as 58th Avenue. I like to see all cars within our parking lot area to take that
Sounds
down
like
completely.
It sounds like that was designed into it to me. Is that correct?
Yeah, I like to joke that I have no desire, I have no opinions on the colors of the chairs in the school, but the operations is very important to me. So, yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, that was one of my concerns was traffic, so thank you.
Did you have a question?
You can
sure.
stay right there,
Oh,
Mr.
sure.
Simpson. All
How are you
right.
doing?
First of all, I'd like to welcome all of our young students here. It's nice to see you all. And this is Government in Action, so you get to see, you probably don't understand about the codes, but that's okay. And thank you to parents for supporting your kids. I have worked in both public schools and in Christian schools. I believe in school choice, and every parent should choose what they want for their child. That's why we have so many good choices out there. And this public schools say the same thing. We say, we want choice also. Choose us or choose you, but it doesn't matter as long as kids are getting educated. Awesome. I do have some questions. Can we go back to the picture of the school with the parking lot? So, Mr. Simpson, when you were at Osceola, how many students were there?
536.
Okay, you're looking at double, right? 1,000 for your projection.
For the full build, yes.
Yes, but that's what you got to think about. If you're totally full, have you noticed that we are moving Osceola and Rosewood because they're exploding in size, so we're moving them to the middle school campuses. And part of the excitement about that is that they have longer car pickup lines.
Okay.
Okay, one thing I noticed about this, I don't know how long that parking lot is, and you're talking about zigzagging around. It might be a thought to have another entrance on one end of the parking lot so that you're bringing them farther around and off the road. I just think that you're not looking in the future. If you get 1,000 kids, you're going to have that problem, just like we did. Okay, so that's one thing to think about. The other thing is, I didn't notice any fences around the school. Safety is a big concern for me. Are you charter or private?
Private.
Private. So you're raising the funds yourself to do all the buildings and everything?
Yes.
Okay. One thing that really bothers me is a school without a fence around it. If you've noticed, we have to do a lot of that in the public schools. We're mandated to do that. You're not. I get that. However, I have a real concern with children not being protected. So fences, cameras, things like that. It's just the way of the world right now, unfortunately. So that's one thing I look at whenever there's a new project or something. I want sidewalks, I want fences, make sure that kids are being protected.
Yeah. There is fencing around the retention ponds, and then our initial build does have fencing, I don't know, sorry, I'm pointing at this. Well, I should
Can you
point
go
here.
back to the picture of the kids with the playground? This is what I'm referring to. You can walk right from the front parking lot all the way
Yeah,
around.
the fencing would be on the left-hand side of that.
So you're going to put a fence around the school?
That's my understanding.
I think parents need to know
Yeah.
that that's an important thing.
Correct. My understanding is that the fencing starts at that corner of that building right there, heads north along that parking lot, and then connects with the retention pond fencing. And then eventually, the long-term design as well is the entire courtyard. It eventually is an enclosed courtyard with a single point of entry at the very front. And so we have a kind of a similar setup to all of the school remodels, where there's a primary vestibule where you walk in, where you interact with the secretary, and you get checked by both a human and the computer system, and then you're buzzed into the school.
You know what I'm referring to on that, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just worried about no fencing in your plan.
Yeah, it's on the left-hand side. The picture doesn't have it.
Okay. I just want to make sure that you're
Yeah, I was
thinking about
second guessing
safety.
if we had, yes.
Also, we have a safety team, safety officer,
Mm-hmm.
and he has worked with other local schools. I'm sure he would be happy to come out and look at your proposal and say, you know, did you think about this? Did you think about this? Because I care about kids' safety. I don't care what school they're in, they need to be safe.
Yeah, Sergeant Dixon, who's in charge of the SROs right now, he came out to our school at the beginning of the year, and actually his son graduated with my son. So I've known him for a very long time. So he sat down and we went over all of our school safety protocols, our procedures, as well as at our current campus, and talking about our procedures in the future as well. Additionally, there's 2 different SROs that I interact with on a regular basis. Deputy Sebris, who is my former SRO when I was at Osceola. He actually is the first person who calls me, even though he's technically not assigned to my school, but just I have a long-standing personal relationship with him. And then Deputy Rodriguez is officially assigned to us. So anytime there's
I know
something
him.
in the area, they have a conversation with us. But every year at the beginning of the year, since we've been open, we've had the local police department come out, typically the person who is in charge of the SROs, to come out and walk our building and make sure we're following all those procedures. And that's my intention in the future. All of our procedures and conversations in terms of the design of the building has been with the same security things in mind. We follow the same procedures as a school district with all of the training that I've had.
And you have an
ever
SRO
since.
on campus?
At this point, we don't. We do have an employee who's a licensed and trained security guard who has that training. They're not an official security guard, but they do have that license.
So
at
you're
Class
using
D
the
and
Guardian
Class
program
G
then?
program,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, thank you for coming out, appreciate it.
Yeah, on the new campus, within our budget, we have an SRO put into our budget, as well as, office space for that individual and everything.
Great, thank you. I
Yes.
just care about kids' safety.
No, I agree completely. I say the most important thing that we do, although ultimately our mission is the shaping hearts and minds, number 1 job is to keep students safe. Number 2 job is that culture of the school. And number 3 is to make sure students are learning. I know it sounds odd to say learning is the 3rd most important thing that we do.
I know.
But if students are not safe and if there's not a culture of we like to use the word joy of learning, then that learning won't take place and you can't shape hearts and minds. And so that's the order that I've always gone in those procedures I've followed.
You're exactly right, thank you.
Thank you. Yep.
Good?
I had one more question. It had to do with the phasing, and this may be for the engineer. I noticed that the tennis courts are in Phase 2, but I don't notice any way to get to those tennis courts because Phase 3 has the second parking lot that would adjoin some manner of getting there. Was there a sidewalk planned or something for those tennis courts? I didn't see it.
Doesn't come before us tonight, though.
No, it's not before us? Well, then, okay. Then,
So this is just for the use itself over all the phases, but the individual site plans for Phase 2 and Phase 3, if they meet the 150,000 square foot threshold and over, it'll come to this board. If not, it'll revert to a staff level approval.
okay.
Yeah.
So there's,
There will be
Things in
more,
place.
there will be more review, yes.
thank you. It was just the quirk I saw.
Any questions of the applicants on the left here?
I've got one. And I guess it's probably to us or the engineer. Is there a de-acceleration lane coming off of 13th Street Southwest going into the, okay, and there's a de-acceleration lane coming off of 58th? Okay. That's it?
I have a bunch. The first had to do with the name and possible confusion with the school district's classical school. What is the name of that, Terry?
Pelican Island Classical Magnet School.
Oh, okay, so the name isn't the problem. Had you considered indicating that this was a Christian classical school in the name? And I assume that's non-denominational within Christianity, is that right?
Yes, we like to call it interdenominational because we accept many denominations within the Christian realm. So we have representation from Baptist, Presbyterian, Catholic, non-denominational, evangelical, all attending the same school. Vero Christian Classical School sounded long. And then also our name of our school rarely, I suppose on your documents it doesn't look the same, but rarely for us does it not accompany our crest that has a cross and the Bible in the middle. So it's interpreted that it's a Christian school, but I realized that on y'all's document, it probably says Vero Classical School and doesn't have a cross with it. But Vero Christian Classical School just seemed long, so.
Do I take that to mean that non-Christian students wouldn't be admitted?
That is not always the case. Does anyone want to come up here with me? Okay, so for our admissions process, people apply, and then we have an entrance assessment for the children, and then we have an interview with the parents to make sure that everyone's on the same page as far as what they're looking for their child and what we're looking for in partnership with parents. And so there is a statement of faith that parents are required to sign. If a parent were not to fully believe every single thing on the paper, what they're actually saying is, we understand that this is what you're going to teach our child, and we're not going to actively combat it at home or in the classroom.
Okay, thank you. And then
That was it. That's good.
the phasing, will the grades be phased in or just the capacity of the school?
We started K through 4, and then we added 5th grade in the second year, 6th grade in the third year, and then we'll continue to add 1 grade per year until we're a full K through 12 program.
Just one at a time.
Okay, so there
One
will
grade
be
at a
no-
time.
There will be nobody above the 4th grade in the beginning.
We currently offer K through 6, and then next year we'll offer K through 7, and then the following year K through 8. So every consecutive year we'll add 1 grade.
I see,
Slow phasing.
and that ties in with the phasing of the development.
Yes.
Yeah, and part of the reason we designed Phase 1 the way it is it fits 330 kids. And if that's as big as God wants to get it, then that's fine. We can run a full K through 12 school that are 330 kids, and we can run it all in that environment because it has 19 different classrooms baked in. But if it does grow quickly, then, we just need to raise more money to build the additional phases. So,
Okay.
yeah, but we have it
Understand.
designed in a way that that could be it. This Phase 1 could be it, so.
And let's see, I had a couple notes here. You showed nice pictures of the interior and the library and places like that. I didn't see or hear any mention of a cafeteria.
Go ahead.
The eating area is actually outside, right out the back door of the Phase 1 building. There will be a lot of tables in the back, and all the kids will eat outside in a covered area.
Can you hit that? I think it's on the playground one, you can kind of see it. Yeah, right there.
To the right of the
To the right,
playground.
there's just that covered area to the right. So we can fit enough students outside that it's just in the fresh air and they're still dry, and
I don't see it,
it's a
but
way easier approach.
my eyes aren't very good.
And we eliminated any ovens and hood vents and all that. So we kept it very simple for the health department and for this purpose, that kids are really just going to bring lunches. Maybe a bus in Chick-fil-A every once in a while, so. Yeah.
And the parents are okay with no air conditioning? I guess.
Yeah, then when they chose to live in Florida, yeah, we all signed up for it, yeah. Oh, you guys okay with it? You okay with it? They say
They're
yes.
giving
They
their
say
thumbs
yes,
up.
yeah.
And then just out of curiosity, the first thing we looked at was the site plan, and there's this big panhandle that doesn't have a landscape buffer. What happens with that? Or what, did that come as part of the purchase of the land, or how'd that happen?
Yeah, so according to the landscape plans, there will be a buffer in that panhandle area. I think it was just the graphic that was created for their item.
Oh, yeah, I did see that. Well, that's kind of weird, that panhandle. Does it have any use, or?
No, it's just a vestige of how the properties were split previously.
That's a skeet shoe range.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark, can we
Or a
move
lap-
on?
A lap pool, yes. You
Can we
may-
move on? Okay. Good. So this is a public
Yeah, I was
hearing,
gonna say, we do need to open the public hearing.
and I think there are a lot of people that would like to speak. In the one thing that we'll request is
There you go.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Thank you for your time. My name is Dr. David Ayala, and I am the father of 2 students who attend VCS. I wanted to come here tonight and publicly express what this school means to my family and what its growth would mean to the community. My family moved here from California in 2023 to be a part of the original cohort of VCS. After speaking with Mrs. Kelly and meeting with Mr. Simpson and other faculty in person, we knew God had led us to entrust our children's education to VCS. This was a very difficult time for our children. Leaving California was not easy for them. As a father, I felt helpless. As a Christian, I felt the overwhelming love and support being shown to my children and our family during a very difficult time. Mr. Simpson, Mrs. Swearingen, and Mr. Smith went above and beyond their responsibilities as a teacher to ensure that our children's needs were being met. This is what the body of Christ is called to do, and this is what this school encompasses. Regarding our children, Scripture tells us that we are to train up our children in the way that they are to go, so that when they are old, they do not depart from it. And in the Great Commission, Jesus was very clear that we are to go out and make disciples. I believe VCS has called us to do just that, and every board member, faculty, and staff member believes it as well. This school is not just about excellence in academics, it's about modeling to the community what Jesus modeled for us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Dr. DeRosier, and I'm actually up here a little bit on a selfish note, okay? First, I want to say that I'm so proud of all of you. We are totally behind the school. We live in the South Lake subdivision, and our backyard literally is going to be adjacent to the corner of this. Our main concern is the traffic, and you've answered almost everything that I even had a question about. One thing that I was thinking about is 66th, which I don't think I ever saw pictured here. 66, I don't know if that's paved south of Oslo
No,
or
ma'am.
not.
No.
Okay.
It basically ends, but there's a dirt road.
Okay, like if that could be paved down to 13th also, eventually. I know that would be a long run, but that would be another route for parents and people to be able to come into the school rather than just 58th. And because once Oslo connects to I-95, I know our subdivision, we're going to have a terrible time getting out of our subdivision there. I suspect there's a good portion of our residents that will be going out the back way and turning and going up 58th to get to the light, to get out onto Oslo. And so I just wanted to throw that in there. I didn't know what the projection was down the road. I realized that would be down the road. But as far as paving 66th between Oslo and 13th and making another route into the school. And that was it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have a map that shows 66?
It's not on the,
Not in the extent of
it's not on the, yeah.
My name is William Smith. I live at 6150 13th Street Southwest. I'm right next to the proposed football field. I'm here today to discuss a critical gap in the current development plan regarding infrastructure and public safety. Currently, the stretch of 13th Street Southwest between 58th and 66th Avenue is unpaved water easement road. This has left residents to maintain the road ourselves. As it stands, this road is a failure. Every time it rains, mail delivery stops, Amazon, UPS, and garbage trucks routinely get stuck. More importantly, in its current condition, emergency vehicles and fire trucks cannot pass through. During Hurricane Matthew, the entire road washed out. We had to fix it ourselves. The county wouldn't do anything. The water district wouldn't do anything. The current plans to designate this stretch of road as a main entrance for the school with over 1,100 students and host sporting events is mathematically and physically impossible for an unpaved easement road to support that volume of daily traffic. And as she just stated, people are going to want to go down to 66th Avenue. Like, there's only 5 houses on our road, and our road is a mess. If you just have 5 parents also go down our road, it's going to totally mess it up. We just paved the road last week. We got rain on, I think, Thursday. I invite all you guys to just drive down 13th Street Southwest and see what our road looks like right now. So we have paid our taxes and impact fees for years, yet our roads have never been upgraded to property county standard. We are facing massive increase in traffic that the current infrastructure simply cannot handle. Responsible planning requires that infrastructure be upgraded before the impact of the new development occurs. I'm asking the commission to ensure that the impact fees collected from this specific school project are allocated to properly pave and maintain 13th Street Southwest all the way from 58 to 66th Avenue. And that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have a question on that, if I can, for this gentleman, or actually for the design team here, Wesley. Is that a left-hand turn only out of the parking lot so that no traffic can go down their street? Is that designed like that? It is, yes. Okay, so it seems like they've addressed that a little bit to try to keep those cars coming down from there by making that a left turn only? And you'll have...
Is there going to be a guard or something that prevents people out there, even after when, like, school practices are going on after hours?
So a couple things I can clarify with 13th Street Southwest that I heard here. So I'm Wesley Mills, Short and Associates. I'm the engineer of record for the project. 13th Street Southwest, so we're actually going to dedicate right-of-way to the county and move the road out of, kind of the farms' easement or right-of-way, move it into the county newly created public right-of-way. It'll be paved, drainage will go into a modern drainage system that actually then goes into our pond, so that drainage within the roadway section that we have is in place, and it will be paved, and all the traffic is intended to go out in left turn lane.
A left turn
Or
lane.
not a left turn lane, but a left.
But based on the plan, would only be 170 feet west of the entrance, correct? Not to 66?
Not to 66, just to our main entrance.
And that's their concern.
But if that's a left turn lane only out of there and they enforce that, I don't think...
I understand, but like you said, after school practices, you can have whatever you want, and people are going down there and you've got a mess.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the shortcut. Like I said, there's 5 houses. I would love for you guys to drive down our road and see what that road looks like.
No, I've been down 66 and all that, around that area, so, I'm familiar with the dirt conditions of a lot of those roads. And I was just trying to demonstrate that I think they've tried to do their best in this design to keep people from doing that with that left turn only out of there. Once again, we can't stop people from breaking the law. And if there's a left-hand turn lane and somebody breaks the law and goes down there, I'm not sure how that can be administered or monitored. But I hear your concern, and I definitely understand it. Thank you.
I don't believe I've ever been out there, but it seems to me that if it's as bad as you described, nobody's going to want to go on that way.
I wasn't sworn in before because I wasn't planning on speak, so I don't know if I need to swear in. My name's Janelle Rufino. I'm at 6180. I'm 2 houses down
If you
from the
would
pond.
be sworn in, ma'am, right, really quick.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
So I was just piggybacking because from my understanding, 13th Street from 66th to the end of their property where they're going to pave is a private road. So we've been dealing with people coming through, cutting through, workers going to the dump and tearing up our road, 4-wheelers and all kinds of stuff, and we're having to maintain it. I paid $1,000 just for my little driveway, so it wasn't this divot and a sinkhole to go into the drainage ditch myself, and the road is still a mess, and that was recently.
Which road is that?
13th Street, but the private road where we all are on.
West of the school.
So we're between 66th up into the school entrance there.
You've
is actually a
approached the
private
county?
road.
You've approached the county, and they said they don't want anything to do with it?
Well, it's a
wasn't
private road. So we maintain it.
Well-
It's not county maintained.
If
They
I
might
may.
say, okay, if y'all want to pave it, you need to pay for it.
Well, I paid to live out there on a private road on purpose. And this is kind of defeating the purpose of being on privacy if there's a school there and people are coming down from 66 to 13th Street
Right.
to line up for the car line. 'Cause
I can probably tell
no,
you
we
in
both
3 or
know they
4
will do
years, in 3 or 4 years, you won't be private anymore. Just the future of what's going to be happening with development out there.
Why, just for the noise and the light pollution and the 5G that usually typically comes with schools? I'm against that just because I'm very into my privacy. That's why I'm there. Thank you.
I too live on a place that has a private road until just recently the county's decided to start grading. But up until that point, a solution was, we had the choice, I could have put a gate up. So just as a thought process out there. If it's truly a private road, you can gate it off.
If I may, I don't know the status of the road, so, sorry, Susan Pro, Deputy County Attorney. I don't know the status of this road, but just looking at the top of it, it looks like it might be Indian River Farms Water Control District right-of-way. So I believe they would be the ones
Wesley's moving it.
to do anything for it. They're the ones that would maintain it. They're the ones that would have anything to do with anything. And as far as paving from 13th Street, the applicant is only required to pave their required portion and their required fair share. So we cannot require them to pave any more than what they're required to pave.
Susan, let me ask you this, and Wesley, you could probably answer it too. Because we're moving the right-of-way, and the county is now taking that, any development that happens out there from here on will be required, I would imagine, to give us the right-of-way to extend 13th Street to 66th to pave it. So that right-of-way will be moved. Good luck with St. John's.
That's correct,
Yeah,
sir.
and then any development that dedicates right will also be
Correct.
required to extend further the pavement. And
So we are looking in the future as county staff knowing that this road is going to be extended and moved because we're going into the right-of-way of the county.
that's correct. Okay.
Anyone else? I'll go ahead and close the public hearing.
Got one more.
Kurt Zoran, 6195 13th Street Southwest, and also 6105 13th Street Southwest. So I'm looking at a school that is special exemption. We are agriculture out there. The whole area is agriculture. What is the school going to bring to our community as an agriculture benefit? Right now, it's private. It's a private school. That school is not open to the public. You have to pay to attend it. Now, the other part, I have cows, I do farming, I do ranching. There's no consideration for my animals. I'm looking at a stadium and I'm thinking lights. I'm thinking there's a parking lot and I'm thinking US 1 as you go down with all the lights on the cars. I'm thinking it's a lot for agriculture. I never met anybody from the school. Nobody ever came out, shook my hand, said howdy. So what am I to take this as? I look as agriculture, it's a big industry. I look at everybody who is on any kind of board, any kind of commission, they're always supporting ag. They're right there. But here we go, prime example. taking away agricultural land. This is why your groceries are getting more and more expensive. Cows aren't $300 for a calf. Go to the auctions, you're gonna see a rude awakening. Everything is gonna start costing more and more. Keep taking away the ag, keep taking it away. I'm making more money. I'm gonna make, heck, maybe I make $2,500 on a calf. Maybe I start charging $12,000 for my steers. Y'all have some decisions to make, but I am not for this. This is greatly impacting my property. Now, there's a few of you, y'all like to do shooting clays, sporting clays, all that great stuff. I mean, we live right across it on 40 acres. I mean, we use that. We throw clays, we shoot clays, and now we're gonna try to put a school over there. I'm not stopping. I'm not stopping my lifestyle for this. It gets loud. I like to reload. I like to do hunting and fishing. I like to test my bullets. It gets loud. The whole neighborhood gets loud. Saturdays, Sundays, heck, after work. It's a war zone out there, and everybody loves it. So before you really start thinking what you're gonna do with this, and when you vote, really think about agriculture. Is the whole area gonna change? I think Mr. Lowther just said everything's gonna change out there. Heck, it's ag 1. You all have the choice to keep it ag 1. You wanna change it, the lifestyle's gone. Once this school gets built, if it gets built, it could be pie in the sky right there. Maybe it gets halfway done. Maybe the economy tanks. Maybe all the parents say, geez, we just don't have the money for the tuition. Next thing you know, what do I got across the street? A dilapidated building. Once you change it, there's no going back to ag. It's done. I spoke my piece. I'll just leave it at that. If you got a question.
Hey, I will say this, and maybe I'm mistaken, and Ryan, you guys can speak up if I am. When you just mentioned you could leave it as Ag 1, I came in here tonight thinking we were voting on rezoning. It's my understanding we're not changing it from Ag 1. It's a special exception. The zoning is not going to change.
That makes 0 sense.
I understand that, and
But
that's
our
where I
code allows it.
misunderstood as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think,
So you're telling me it's gonna stay ag 1, even though you have a school on it? And I mean, make this make sense for me, fellas.
I think the difference you have,
I'm
is
gonna-
this inside the urban service boundary?
No, sir, it's just on
outside?
the, yes,
You're-
but if I could just clarify, Mr. Chair and members of the commission and for the whole audience, the underlying zoning and land use will remain ag. This is a specific use approval for just this parcel tied to this specific site plan. If it doesn't move forward, the plans may be scrapped, it will remain ag. We're not doing a bait and switch here. Somebody else doesn't get to come in here and do a medical school or some other thing. It remains ag. You all may recall, about a year ago, you recommended approval that Glendale Christian School be allowed to operate outside of the urban service on agricultural land west of 58th Avenue, just north of Ozzo. So this is not new or unique. They are operating right now. The neighbors have 5 and 10 acre pieces on surrounding that don't know any different.
And so, Ryan, our zoning and codes allow for this school to be in an ag
As a special,
specifically.
correct, as a special exception use.
So because they're asking to do something that is in our code and able to be built in ag, do we have, I don't know that we have a leg to stand on for turning it down just because it's a school if they're asking to do something that is legally allowed in the ag zoning,
Subject to the criteria that are.
subject to the criteria, correct? And they meet every single criteria, sir?
Yes, sir. One other thing you are allowed to do is recommend conditions that would mitigate compatibility issues. So primarily operational or use criteria.
But those would probably come in the second or third phase with low light,
Yeah, you
light
nailed it.
pollution.
Yeah, absolutely. That would more than likely be phases 2 and 3.
So then Ryan, with this being outside the urban service boundary, we're supplying water and sewer to it?
It's on, literally on the edge, so there is there's a policy that you are allowed to connect if you're within a certain distance.
So when you tell me it's on the edge, and I'm gonna apologize to the, I think the lady, I said there's gonna be a lot of growth out there.
Right.
If it's outside the urban service boundary, I'm one to tell you right now, I'm not going for rezoning changes, for development,
Right, so this is immediately across the street from the
Correct.
USB. I
So-
will also clarify that this is in the area that the board identified as part of the
Right.
USB expansion.
And I do remember that, too.
So it may be in the USB in the coming months or year. But just for current day, as we speak tonight, it's outside the urban service area, it is zoned Ag 1, it has an Ag 1 land use. It is immediately across the street from the USB. Brandon, go to the aerial, if you will. Sorry. We don't have, go to there, yeah, go back to our aerial. So you can see in the upper right-hand corner where the north arrow is.
Yep.
Dr.
South Lake. That's
Yeah,
South Lake.
I mean, that's actually South Lake, and then there's Diamond Lake.
Yes.
So, I mean, there's residential subdivisions. These two pieces that are on the east side of 58th, north of 13th, immediately east of the school, those are anomalies in that they're actually RS3 and L1 land use. They just happen to be large acreage, but they're not bound by the A1.
Right.
So,
I think, Mr. Zran, to answer your question, I would much rather see a school here than a 450 rooftop development with housing that I don't know if in the future will get approved if they try to come in and do a PD on ag and change that zoning, or an RS3, which we've seen. And again, I've already told you, I will not vote on any development outside that urban service boundary, plain and simple. So
Right.
those of you I said I would, that's not gonna happen for me. I'm only one of 5 or one of 7. I think the school here has a purpose from the growth that is happening out there and continuing to happen off of 43rd, where you had ag with all the Sexton property that just became housetops kind of overnight. So it's interesting that this is just as on the edge of the urban service boundary, and we're gonna give them water and sewer.
So you're over it, correct?
Right.
Right. So you're just not sticking with the plan.
Well, no, the plan, because they're entitled to have this, and I think the BOCC had stated at some point in time, they would like to see this happen. So whatever we do, they can always do what they want to do. That's what they do.
So what about water rights? I know when we look at water's everything. I'm looking at, I don't know, do you know what the square footage or the acreage of just open green space over there is? Throw me a
Listen, it's there
number.
somewhere. I think, yeah.
In there somewhere, yeah.
All the berms, all the trees, everything that wants to be watered.
Well, may I ask a question then of the engineer? Is the irrigation going to be supplied by the storm retention, or is it going to be wells?
It'll be supplied from the on-site storage ponds. That's best reuse for that.
There you go. So
So
they're
my-
actually
my-
recycling water to go onto their property from storm retention and not digging wells.
So during the dry season, they're not gonna be filling up those retention ponds. Am I correct? They're gonna be
That I
ju-
can't answer. I'm not the engineer.
So the engineer can maybe answer this one for me. How are you gonna water with a dry retention pond?
They're wet retention ponds.
It's gonna be dry come the dry season, it's gonna be dry.
I'll let the engineer answer that.
Chairman Day,
Correct.
is it possible to consolidate the questions so that we can come up to the end and answer all of them so that there's not back and forth?
I'm looking for it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So the other, one other question that I just got to clarify, we keep on going back and forth on 13th Street. It is a wreck. I mean, for the past 15 years, I'm the one grading it practically. I do it at least twice a month. Garbage, that's another concern. In that amount of time, you would not believe the amount of people that come down and just dump. They will dump. They'll throw stuff out the windows, palm trees, palm fronds, everything they want to. So be prepared. It's going to get messy with this traffic count. It's just going to happen. People are opening up their windows. They're dropping their kids off. Things get flung out. I've got 2 kids of my own. Things do happen. But over the year, it does add up. And there's that ditch. That ditch right there. That is the main source for my drainage. So anything starts collecting up in that ditch, plugs it up. Now granted, the water management, Indian River Farms, they do a really good job cleaning it all out. But please take that into consideration too. Keeping everything nice and tidy out there and not relying on, well, so-and-so was supposed to do it. If you see it, clean it up, be a good neighbor. Just to give you insight in how much trash in 15 years, 18 tons, that's how much trash I took to the dump. I would tell them at the dump, this is all from 13th Street, just bring in the county's dump fees, or could you help me out? Nah, sorry, can't. I was always the one paying for it. It's not much, it's like 30 bucks a ton, but still, it added up over the years. I just like to see a tidy place. But in recapping, yeah, this isn't for us. This is not for the area. I'm sorry.
Brandon, you mentioned that we could approve this with conditions.
If I may, sorry, yes, you can. You are able to, I wanted to read that in here in a minute to make sure you guys know what you can and can't do with this particular one, if I may. So this is a site plan and it is a special exception. Pursuant to our code, what the board can do under section 971.05, and that's reviewing uses requiring special exception. And it's under, I apologize. Subsection 6C, and it's Planning and Zoning Commission review. The decision, C2, with a reasonable period of time following the close of the public hearing on the application, the Planning and Zoning Commission shall make its report and recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners for approval with conditions, or denial of the application, stating its reasons for recommendation of denial. So you still can do all of those things. However, you have to, if you are to deny anything, you have to give a reason as to why it's being denied, and it has to be in writing. So you do have the ability to approve with conditions as well. So that's what you're allowed to do. And as far as for site plans, because this is a site plan, what y'all need to be looking for is, it says specifically under 91406 sub 6 for Planning and Zoning Commission decision, the Planning and Zoning Commission shall consider each site plan application scheduled for consideration of this, and it shall base its decision on the use, size, dimension, and regulations for the respective zoning district, the site review standards established therein, and all other applicable land development regulations and comprehensive plan policies. The Planning and Zoning Commission may impose conditions on site plan approval which ensure compliance with all applicable land development regulations and comprehensive plan policies. And so after those are the things that you are able to do, and those are the things you all should consider when you're doing that. I don't know if you have any questions after that, and I'm sorry, Mr. Lowther, I was trying to get there and clarify for y'all, so staff didn't feel that in case they missed something.
My question, I guess, to staff is, what I've heard tonight is condition of 13th Street Southwest. And I also heard that we're moving, or they're purchasing right-of-way for the county to take over of 13th Street Southwest, correct?
Mr. Chair, Mr. Lowther, historically, when the Indian River Farms Company platted most of South County, there was 60 feet of right-of-way, 30 of which was for the canal, and 30 of which is called road, but it's really more of like a top of bank, a berm for maintenance of the canal. However, what typically happens is when the county obtains an additional 30 feet, more often than not on the north side, the canal is usually on the south side, the 30 feet of roadways north. If the county gets the other 30 feet, the farms in the county agree that the county is now the owner and maintainer of that 60 feet. To clarify further, the 30-foot right-of-way dedication for 13th Street Southwest would be the entire project frontage of where this project fronts on 13th Street Southwest, so from 58th Avenue to their western boundary. The reason they can't pave the entire length is twofold. One, they're only required to pave to their entrance. Then they go another 170 feet beyond, and then they have to do what's called transition back down. I'll venture, I'm not an engineer, but I have been out in that area. 13th Street Southwest is extremely low. It drops down below 58th Avenue quite quickly. So they're gonna have to, what they call transition, and grade back down. So you're not creating like a ramp-like effect. So everything west of the western boundary of this subject site is not private, but it's also not public. What it is it's Farms Canal Water Control District right-of-way that's not maintained by the county. They don't grade it. If the property owners were to dedicate 30 feet of their individual frontages, ultimately the county could acquire enough of that 60 feet of right-of-way to at least, at minimum, maintain it on a grader schedule and then eventually pave it. The only other thing I'll mention is that 66th Avenue with the Oslo Road improvements will be paved a few hundred feet south of the intersection, but it will not go all the way down to 13th Street Southwest. If this site and a larger area is brought into the USB through our longer range plan, traffic planning, this would be the grid. You mentioned the South County Initiative, 13th Street Southwest and 66th Avenue are certainly grid roads on the thoroughfare plan network. One other item, if I could, to dovetail off Susan's information is that, so the sort of conventional language in the staff report on page 1 is that the Planning and Zoning Commission may recommend reasonable conditions and safeguards necessary to mitigate impacts and ensure compatibility with the use with the surrounding area. Staff is recommending that you all approve with conditions that we've already outlined. Those are primarily infrastructure conditions, meeting the specific land use criteria, and the enrollment cap. And that's pretty standard. The only other item I would venture, and I'd ask the applicant if they agree, is that the 13th Street Southwest driveway connection be striped with a left turn, assigned and striped with left turn exit only striping and signage. I think that's something that's reasonable that you all could impose as an additional recommended condition.
And Ryan, I'm gonna go off base a minute. 13th Street Southwest obviously is a terrible road beyond this. We have mandatory garbage pickup, which I'm sure they have to pay for. I don't know. If this road is as bad as it is, how does a fire truck get down to it to get to one of their houses?
That's what they mentioned. But the project is proposing to make it at least more passable.
To them.
To that, correct. And the intersection. That's another thing. The intersection drops off considerably right now.
How many feet, Ryan? Do you know?
3 or 4 feet, you think? The elevation change from 3 to 4 feet. Or as much as 6, depending on how rutted out it is. Okay.
So I think Mr. Zran said he grades this twice a month, I believe. When it rains, he grades it, rains the next day, then it's just shot. I'm good.
Okay.
I got a question.
Go ahead,
and
Mr. Campbell.
Susan, you may know this too. Is the legal precedent from the House Bill 1285 that passed like a year ago? Is that was the education bill that let, schools or private schools on certain lands with no zoning changes, no special exceptions? Is that what the premise is?
No, sir. That's for stuff that already has buildings there, for example, like a church or
Library?
Library, former
It'd have to be
building
existing
uses.
already.
Yes, there's an existing.
You can't
This
build new
has-
and, you
this
can't
has
build new and then
nothing.
retroactively say,
Yes.
oh, I want to put a school here.
Gotcha.
In fact, that's the precise reason. So if it were an existing church, and sort of ironically, Glendale went through that process almost at the same time that 1285 actually exempted them from that. But regardless, this is entirely new, ground up, so it is still through our process. And frankly, they don't, even though they're a faith-based school, they don't have a church use. That would be a different approval process.
Mr. Chairman, it seems to me, and the attorney will kick me if I'm wrong, that this last gentleman made some very convincing arguments, but they seem to apply to the special exception as opposed to the site plan. And is it true that our role in recommending a special exception is limited in that we just have to see if meets the criteria, and that his argument would be much more effective and carry a lot more weight and have more flexibility in front of the Board of County Commissioners?
So, yes, sir. So the role of the Planning and Zoning Commission is to see if it meets criteria. And you can impose, for example, some specific conditions on the site plan or the special exception, based on the size or some of the regulations for the respective zoning district. But as far as, I think the most complaint that I've heard, at least from that, had to do with the road, but I don't know that the planning and zoning can order anything to do with that road because it's not their road. It's not the school's road. It is the farm's right-of-way, and we don't have the farms in front of us. We have an applicant who is literally taking a sliver off of their own private property and dedicating it to the county so that they can have a roadway made there. That is what's happening. So we don't have, the planning and zoning can't, in essence, order the applicant to go on to the farm's easement or property to reinforce or make anything different. So the applicant is, as stated, they're literally taking a sliver off of what is their property and giving that to the county to be improved.
So then, Susan, what I heard is if the people that own the property out there, I think, Ryan, you made the comment, if they wanted to give 30% of their right-of-way to the county would maybe entertain that.
Let me clarify. So the other option or the other way about it is acquisition, which is costly and timely. Right. So if property owners want to dedicate without compensation 30 feet to eventually get to that 60 feet from this project all the way to 66, then that makes it a lot more palatable for the county to, one, maintain the current dirt road, and two, ultimately pave and improve in the future.
And that's what I'm getting at. If there's something out there that allows them that capability of doing that, they're gonna have to give something up to get something. I have no problem with that. I've had to go through that myself personally in different pieces of property. So that would be discussion at the BOCC level.
Right. Not specific to this school, though.
No.
Thank you.
That would be a conversation they would have to have with the commissioners themselves about their private property.
They do have a venue to bring this forward to the BOCC, and they've got a venue to address their concerns with them.
They are able to ask staff or ask the BOCC or their representative if they're interested in having that road or having that conversation. Yes.
I'm very comfortable with that.
Yeah,
And Robert, that's something that can easily happen, which now the owners understand it, okay, if we give something up, we might give something. That's why your county commissioners make the big bucks, so they can make that decision.
We don't make any, so.
No, we don't.
Did you have some answers to Mr. Zhang's questions? You were collecting the questions?
Maybe just a few, Commissioner, and I appreciate the resident coming up and speaking, and you know, that's why we have these open public meetings, is for this type of participation with the residents and our surrounding neighbors. You know, I'd like to point out, though, that there is existing residential within less than 1,700 feet of this site. When you touch property corner to property corner, it's right there. Planned developments, communities, existing and nearby agricultural uses. And this is a permitted use within the ag district. It is a special exception. That's why we're here before you this evening. But we do meet each and every one of those criteria that we have rigorously worked through with staff to document that we are consistent and confounded with the LDRs of the Indian River County Code. But as it relates to our retention ponds and drainage, you know, we have to go through 3 different agency reviews. We have to go through Indian River Farms, we have to go through St. Johns River Water Management District, we have to go through the County Public Works Department, and we have to pull a consumptive use permit to pull out of our lake to irrigate our 53 acres, just like any ag use would have to do to irrigate their crops or their cattle or anything else. So we are in the process of going through that right now. You know, I think as you find out in your conditions that staff has imposed certain conditions for us to abide by. That means installing the perimeter buffer all the way around the site, even the panhandle, day one, before we can get our first CO. So that's some protections that they've already looked at for the nearby residences. It was brought up about lighting. So lighting has been already addressed. With what we're able to address with our phase 1 site plan, we've submitted photometrics plans. They've been reviewed by the building department. We meet all of the lighting requirements for the land development regs. We haven't permitted any sports lighting or anything because those are going to come in a future phase, but we'll have to work with the building department, work with staff, get those within the acceptable thresholds that the land development regs allow for. And if you look at the plans, we are showing a left out only onto 13th Street. That's already striped, it's already, so happy if you want to make that condition. It's already been accounted for. But you know, this is a fantastic project. I think you see by the folks in the audience how much of an impact it's going to make, and the residents and future leaders of Indian River County. We're happy to be a part of it. Happy to continue the dialogue with our neighbors as we go through future phases and look at certain compatibility issues and other things. But we thank you for your time. We thank staff for their time. And, you know, thank you very much.
I'll make this quick. I'm a board member, Joel Molinari. I'm one of the board members at Vero Classical. Personally, I would like to apologize to the gentleman for not coming down and knocking on your door and saying hello. I want to say I'm sorry. And for not bringing you a box of shot shells and some clays. But seriously, you know, what the last thing we want to do as Vero Classical is to have enmity with our neighbors, right? So personally, I just want to say thank you all, but I do want to address this publicly because I have cattle on some acreage. I know the land, I know what you're talking about. I also have a few pieces of machinery, and I will be glad to buy you lunch, and let's talk about how we can be neighbors, if that's okay.
If it gets that far.
I'm just saying, but let's at least talk about it, because if worst case scenario, we have lunch, we get to know each other, and we create some more neighbors. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
John Miller, I was not previously sworn in. I don't know if
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
So
Name and address?
John Miller, 6245 13th Street Southwest, and then also the adjacent property to the west of that. My biggest concern now is if this project does move forward and you are doing all this road work off of 58th on 13th Street Southwest, are you going to close the road? Because the road closure on 21st Street Southwest for that private development has been closed for how long? That, you can no longer use that to get to the property. And so my concern is what's going to go on with this, because that's, believe it or not, that section of 13th Street is the better half because Mr. Zoran does maintain it. If you try to go around to 66th and come down, it is 100 times worse.
And I do believe that when they do these developments and they do those pavements, that there's what they call an MOT plan, which is a management of traffic. And I believe they have a plan that would allow that road to probably stay open during this construction. But, and that's my
Probably or
experience with it,
definitely?
is that those roads are generally constructed with that MOT allowed to go through. So they have flagmen out there. They do half of the road at one time, and then they'll do the other half, as they go through. So I do believe that that would remain open as far as my experience goes with development. And
What
those
about
kinds of-
21st Street Southwest then? How come
I don't
that-
know that that's in this project, and so
No,
we
it's
can't-
not in this project,
Yeah,
but
so-
that's still a zoning concern that was still had to be approved, and that road has been closed for over a year now. With those two, with that development, housing development that's on each side of the road. So this is what I just don't want to see go on here as well.
Have you talked to your Board of County Commission about that?
No.
21st? I suggest you do that.
Well, so, I mean, I use the road, I don't have any
Oh, no,
property
but
on the
I
road.
would talk to the county commission and say, okay,
Okay.
why is this road not open?
Okay,
Yeah. You pay their salary.
okay,
They'll listen to you. If not, give me a call and I'll help you with it.
all right.
Janelle Rufino again, 6180. I just have a quick question because I think it was engineering, right? You engineer? He was saying that there was a residential property that was bordering the
Across the
school
street.
property.
Yep.
But it's across 58th. So it's not actually on our plot of land at the Indian Farms. Okay, just wanted to clarify that.
How far is the western edge of this property from 66? Is it
Thousands of feet.
half a block, or is it a long way?
Yeah, I mean, it's thousands and thousands and thousands of feet.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, sorry, we don't have that number, but it's not, this property is less than a quarter of the frontage of 13th Street between 58th and, there's still at least 3/4 of 13th Street.
Let me go back to the applicant's presentation. 'cause
Based
it's
on the-
probably there.
Based on the property appraiser site and the measurement tool on there, it's roughly 3,376 feet.
Further west.
Yes.
3/4 of a mile.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, anyone else? Okay, I'll close the public hearing.
The third.
And any additional questions, discussion, commissioners?
I only have one. And it's just curiosity for the originators of the school. I noted in the presentation, it was mentioned that you would be the only Christian classical school within about a 45-minute radius or circumference. Out of ignorance, please tell me the difference between a Christian classical, Masters Academy, Glendale Christian. Again, I'm just not, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter, but I'm just curious.
In the interest of time, I will try to be brief. I'm Jamison Kelly, once again.
You have 20 seconds.
20 seconds,
Oh.
okay. The classical part of the education is the biggest foundational difference. So it has to do with the actual content of the curriculum as well as the way the curriculum is taught by the teacher, so that would be called pedagogy. The art of teaching is different. Going more for critical thinking skills, appreciating how to take something apart and put it back together, avoiding, I'll give you information, you give me information, and really trying to educate the whole mind of how to think. That is not to say that I'm saying no other schools are teaching children to think. I'm saying that the distinctives of Christian Classical School is a foundation that all knowledge is God's knowledge. Anything that we're going to learn about his world or any of the subjects reveals more of his character, and that's the foundation of everything that's taught at our school. Additionally, history is taught chronologically. So first grade starts with creation of the world and goes all the way to the rise of the Roman Empire. Second grade picks that right back up, ancient Greece and Rome. Third grade, medieval times. I was not taught that way growing up. It was a modge podge. So chronological history is very big. The great works of literature. So not just having kids read something because they find it entertaining, but exposing them to deep, rich literature. So they do novel studies of time-tested novels that have stood the test of time, that really have emphasis on what is good, what is true, what is beautiful. And then science, for instance, it's a really deep look at a subject rather than a hummingbird kind of effect of learning about a lot of things. So first grade spends the whole year on zoology, second grade spends the whole year on botany and anatomy, third grade astronomy, like that, and it continues that way. We spend a lot of time with catechism questions, learning about the truths of God's biblical truths through song. So there are 150 catechisms that the children go through 3 times in a grammar school. Like I said, I could talk about it for a really long time. I'll briefly touch on the way. Oh, the trivium, sorry, okay. So it's mostly broken into 3 groups. Grammar school is elementary, logic school is middle school, the rhetoric school is high school. So in the grammar age, all of them are designed to lean into the natural development of a child. So little children like to sing, like to rhyme, like to move their bodies, can obtain a lot of information much better than our brains can. So during that time, it's a lot of information download into their minds, lots of facts, timelines, filling their well of knowledge. By the time they get into middle school, which is logic school, they like to argue. Why is that true? Why is that not true? That doesn't make sense until we lean heavily into that with the Socratic method, teaching them how to recognize formal fallacies, how to break down a bad argument, how to build a good argument. Take things apart, put it back together. And by the time they're in the rhetoric school, most of the focus is on being an eloquent speaker, an eloquent writer. So that's kind of the nutshell of it. It's more of like a liberal arts education. We want them to be well-rounded. We also have PE every day. We want them to be masters of their body, self-discipline. That's it? Okay, sorry. That's it. We could go to lunch anytime.
Calvin, that sounds actually fun to me.
But I seriously, curiosity got the best of me, and I had to know.
I could also
So it is
recommend
the
a book
curriculum.
for you
Thank
that would
you.
be helpful. So.
Thank you.
Just got a classical education.
I was classically.
Mr. Chairman,
Okay, any other questions?
I move for staff recommendation.
All right, we got a motion for staff recommendation?
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Are there any commissioner matters?
Just one, real quick, just wanted to ask Ryan, when are we gonna have a follow-up meeting with the BCC on the PD? I don't wanna repeat, I don't wanna get so far that we have to relive it.
Urban service
It
Yeah.
is still
Yeah,
TBD.
after
I'm working with the commission.
Okay.
Just real quick before we lose everybody, the only thing I have is, we will be having the April 9th meeting as well.
Okay.
I know we've had some back-to-back meetings, but
With that, bud.
that's it.
Attorney matters?
None, thank you.
We're adjourned.
All right, thank you.
Holy moly.